this episode of Tyler Perry Sistas Season 9, Episode 9. But first things first, let me know y'all thoughts on today's new episode. Well, tonight's new episode down below. This is for Tyler Perry Sistas Season 9, Episode 9. Okay, so I'm going to give y'all a quick little summary, and then we're going to dive into the review. First things first, I said Andy's obviously jealous of Fatima, but she's not wrong. She's not wrong about them getting in trouble, because you can't just be running around practicing law and you ain't licensed. But at the same time, you should have never told her to do it. You should have never sit her down there. You should have handled it. You should have handled it. And if it was too much for you to handle, then you should have put them with somebody else. That was simple. Simple. Case solved. Case solved. Hold on. But yeah, I said Andy's obviously jealous of Fatima, but she's not wrong about them getting in trouble. And then, not to mention, what was I gonna say before we say that part? I was gonna say how, you can't just be running around practicing law and stuff like that. You're not licensed, because if anything goes wrong, the first two things that they gonna say is, one, Andy allowed it to happen, and two, the firm allowed it to happen. So either they gonna have to get rid of Andy and Fatima, or just Andy. Either way it goes. Because Andy the one allowed it to happen. But yeah, I was like, they've been trying to get rid of Andy for a long time. For how many seasons now? They going to say, look, we've been waiting on this. But now that she a partner, can they really get rid of her? I don't know, y'all. Now that she's a partner, I don't know if they can actually get rid of her or not. But aside from that, I said Sabrina listens to her friends too much. I said, if you listening to Maurice the first time about Frank didn't work out, why would you continue to listen to him? Why would you continue to take his advice? And y'all know, if y'all been listening a long time, how I feel about this with the whole Calvin situation. She went to them and asked her friends what they thought. And that's what led her to change her mind. So I was like, yeah, she listened to them entirely too much. And not to mention, it's certain things I personally feel like you shouldn't tell your friends. But yeah, they over here sharing details about how it went and stuff like that. I was like, couldn't be me. I ain't telling you diddly freaking squat. I'm not telling you nothing like that. What the world going on? What the world going on? But yeah, Zach finna get ready to do something stupid and take out his frustrations on that Duncan dude. Danny tried to convince Tony to do something productive, but he not listening. Andy and Vaughn agreed that they want to keep getting to know each other, and he said he gonna find a way to help Andy. Vaughn ends up letting Karen know, what resources are available for her to deal with postpartum depression, if that's what she's currently dealing with. And Hayden told Fatima to watch her back because Andy's jealous, and she was like, there's never been any jealousy between us or whatever, and there never will be. And he was like, okay, don't say it. Basically, I ain't tell you or whatever. She's jealous. She mentioned how Hayden's still working for her and stuff like that. He was like, because I'm a lawyer, but you disposable. And I was like, I had to agree with him. And not just that, also, because I didn't write this part down. On tonight's episode, Maurice told Sabrina about Andy meeting up with this guy, showed the photo, it was Dr. Vaughn. She was like, she lied to me. She basically said she was getting food or whatever. She wondered why she lied to her. And she also didn't tell Fatima that she was meeting up with Vaughn. So I was like, what? So I'm assuming that this season there are going to be problems between Andy and Fatima. I'm assuming that. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what it's looking like, y'all. It's looking like it's going to be problems between them. Y'all know they started off the first episode with Zach walking in on Andy being naked and talking about some doggone Fatima don't have to know. Now she jealous of her. She walked in, thought the flowers was hers and stuff like that. Then she found out it was Fatima's, and she got a bunch of them, and she felt some type of way. And once again, like I said, she should have never sent her to sit up here and talk to this dude. If you knew you didn't have the availability, you should have never agreed to let her do it. But yeah, let's dive into the review. First thing first, let me know y'all thoughts down below. So Sabrina ends up calling Maurice because she can't get Frank up and stuff like that. She's trying to get Frank out her house. I think this is his name. If not, I done gave him a name. I think his name was Frank. But yeah, she trying to get him up or whatever. He ain't listening, so she threw something at him. He got up. He done went and made him a bowl of cereal. It looked like he was going through or about to go through her purse and stuff. So she finally got him out and everything. She went to work. They was just sharing details about, their sex life and stuff like that. And that's what I was saying. Like, there's certain things you shouldn't be talking about, in my opinion. They over here sharing details about how it was going side to side. We said just go flop, flop. Hold on. But yeah, and Paige was letting them know that she, despite Sabrina's failure, she didn't fail. She had a good time with that man she met. Or whatever. And what else? I think Sabrina thanked Maurice for running things for her and stuff like that. That's another problem. That's another problem right there. Which I said strict around here, it definitely is. I was like, that's another problem. He got on this suit and stuff. I said, he's sitting in her seat. I was like, nah, that's another problem right there. Conflict of interest. I don't think that's what it's called, but either way it go. What else? I'm trying to finish with Sabrina now. Then we're gonna talk about Fatima. What else happened with Sabrina now? I forgot. We'll just come back to it. Fatima wants them to put everything behind them. Zach kept hinting at stuff, but he didn't fool. And that's why I said they can't communicate. They have a problem communicating with each other. Let me see what time it is. It is. Oh, I think my battery done went dead. Let me see. It's 9:26. But yeah, they still having problems communicating with each other. So he just beating around the bush and stuff like that. He was like, he never gave her a chance to express how she feels about the whole Karen and the hospital situation. And he trying to get her to say what he already heard her say. She over here beating around the bush too. She not saying anything. She trying to change the subject and stuff like that. So she ends up getting a call from the Dunkin' dude. And he being inappropriate. And I was like, hey, they go. I said, gotta stir up some type of trouble with these folks. But yeah, here they go. So Duncan ends up calling Fatima, whatever, talking about she fine and all this other stuff. And Zach here, and he let him know that, she got a fiance, so she do. So they was just talking and stuff like that. And then they got off the phone, and Zach was saying how he thinks that Duncan will be a problem later. And he will. He definitely will, because he already sending gifts to the house and stuff like that. Sending all, you ain't got to do all that extra stuff. You ain't got to do all that extra stuff or whatever. But yeah, he done sent her a big old box with a purse in there. That big old box for that tiny purse. What the world? But yeah, so I don't full on blame Zach. But at the same time, Zach always got to do something stupid. I was like, she done told you, she present you with an opportunity and stuff like that, and you finna mess it up. Now, I will say all money ain't good money, all opportunities ain't good opportunities or whatever. And he clearly being inappropriate with his fiance. So I get it. But at the same time, you don't go doing nothing stupid. Now, I don't know what he gonna do, but I think the synopsis said he gonna do something crazy. I think he's supposed to do something to that man. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, let's see. I already said Zach thinks the Duncan will be a problem later on. Fatima's like, no, she don't think so. He is being, kind of inappropriate and stuff like that, but, she can handle it and stuff. Andy ends up stopping by. See, Karen tells Karen that another episode where she ain't held her baby. Another episode where that's what I want to see. I feel like that'll be the thing that wakes her up. That I ain't gonna say wake her up, because I don't want to be, dismissive or anything like that. That's not what this is. Hold on. But I say to get her to see, okay, despite the fact that you lost one, you still have the other one. Of course, you're going to always feel that way because that's your child. That was your child, too. Despite what everybody's saying around, they like, just snap your finger and the girl going to be healed. But at the same time, like, maybe that's what's going to be what gets her to, get back to who she was, or not even that. Because you when you experience certain things, you never go back to how you used to be. Never. But I don't know how to explain it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, probably. Probably. But yeah, let's see what else. Andy tells Karen that she gonna get justice for her. Karen said, she didn't ask for that and stuff like that. Everything that Andy's doing is reminding her of the worst day of her life, and that's when she got up and she left. Danny ends up talking to Tony, and she wants Tony to do something productive. Like I said in the beginning of this, he not listening. He was still playing the game. She had tried to call him to bring her lunch because she forgot it. He done ate her lunch or whatever, and she thought it was a woman in there. Look, I was waiting to see who it was too, but it was her cousin. What's his name? Rock or something like that? Yeah, he came out or whatever. Oh, and when they was at work, hold on. And when they was at work, Leonard over here putting it in her head that maybe Tony done found somebody else that wouldn't jeopardize his career and stuff like that. So she let him get in her head. She went to the house or whatever. He was playing the game and everything. I said, yeah, this ain't going to... If he don't get out of this funk and find something else or whatever, this is definitely not going to work. It's definitely not. I already said how Frank done made himself a serial done got real comfortable. Excuse me. And when they showed him still on the couch, I was like, Paige said not to bring nobody to your house. That's what she said. She told her. She told her twice, matter of fact. But yeah, Andy went into her office and she seen some flowers and she assumed it was from Vaughn. He was like, no, it's not from me. So after she got off the phone with him, that's when she seen it was for 15. But yeah, Vaughn ends up saying how he wants to keep getting to know Andy, and she agrees. But he also wants to help her, but he just got to figure out how to help her. Serena ends up giving a recap of her night with Frank, but she didn't fully say what happened. She was just giving certain details. Andy finds out that the flowers was for Fatima. She took them in there and she seen all the other flowers and drinks and everything else. And Andy ends up telling Fatima how they could get in trouble with her practicing law and not licensed. And that I agree with. That I agree with, because you can't do that. But at the same time, once again, why would you tell her to go handle it? Did you not think she was going to handle it in the way that she is? Or take on more cases and stuff like that? Or what? But yeah, Fatima was trying to explain that they found out that Duncan had sent something and it turned into a competition or whatever. And she was saying if the partner see it, that, she could get in trouble and stuff like that. So she was like, she gonna get rid of it. So that's when she told her about practicing law and not licensed. And I agree with that part, because you can't get in trouble for not, being licensed or whatever. Because if he was to go tell anybody stuff like that, oh, she did it, and they find out that she ain't even licensed or whatever, she gonna be in trouble. Both of them gonna be in trouble. So I agree with that part. But she's obviously jealous. She gonna mention, first of all, she said that part. Then she was like, how does Zach feel about this? Because first she was like, CC me on anything moving forward, on all cases moving forward, stuff like that, so she could know about it, so she could be in the know. So I get that. I get all that. Then she told my son, how does Zach feel about all this? She was like, what you want me to snap? Look, Fatima snapped. She was like, what you want me to CC him too? You want me to CC him too? And she was like, she let her know she gonna do it or whatever, but she felt some type of way. So then Hayden came in and he was like, he got Fatima back, and then basically they've been working together. And Andy felt some type of way about that. She was like, really, Hayden or whatever? And I was like, look, hold on, wait, let me see. But yeah, I was saying how they've been trying to get rid of Andy since season 1, season 2. So yeah, she ain't wrong about that. I don't know if they can actually get rid of her now that she a partner, but yeah. What else? Let's see. Danny ends up calling Tony, but he doesn't answer. That's when she was trying to get the food or whatever. We already talked about that. Karen told Dr. Vaughn that she's starting to feel more like herself, but at the same time, she feels numb. She was like, she don't want to say anything that could get her put in a straitjacket or get her baby took. And I said, oh, she mentioned her baby. I said, look, we making progress. We making some type of progress, y'all. But yeah, what else? Vaughn ends up telling Karen about all the resources available to help her if she's going through postpartum depression. Hayden said Hayden said how Andy don't never get no gifts like that. Andy wants Fatima to include her moving forward. Hayden ends up telling Fatima that Andy's jealous and to watch her back. And that's when she was like, there's no jealousy between us or anything like that. And I was like, yes, it is. Even though I agree with her about practicing law and you not licensed or whatever, yeah, she's definitely jealous. And you got to watch her. This is why I said, now we don't know how this is going to play out, but so far she's looking jealous. But I was like, that's why I said when the whole situation with Danny, Fatima, and Karen was going on, they were debating about who could be friends with who or whatever. I was like, why she just can't get her own friends? Like, because they ain't no good sister circle. They ain't never been no good sister circle, except when Karen was recently going through what she was going through. I give them that. But aside from that, they ain't never been no good friends. Why would y'all want her to be friends with these people? I said, it's bad enough that she friends with Angela and Belinda owns the team if you don't watch it or whatever. But these people ain't no good friends neither. One over here messing around with married men. So what you think? Like, they'll be like, I never do that to you. Shoot, if she'll do it to one, she'll do it to two. If she'll do it to one, she'll do it to two. But yeah, I don't know if they finna stir up trouble between Andy. I need to do a video on that. I don't know if they finna get ready to stir up trouble between Andy and Fatima, but it's looking like it. It definitely is. But yeah, what else? Let's see. I already said Andy. Hayden told Fatima that Andy's jealous of her and to watch her back. Andy ends up asking how Zach feels about all the gifts she's receiving. Hayden was like, he gonna take that drink or whatever, and she was like, take whatever you want. And he was like, what are you, pregnant? And then she made a face and he realized that she was pregnant, but I don't think they ever went back to that scene. Sabrina ends up telling Maurice how she don't think she's meant for the streets, and that's when he over here trying to encourage her, stuff like that, to give it another try. And that's why I said, no, you shouldn't. No, at this point in life, you shouldn't be listening to these folks. You ain't learned yet. Then I think I forgot to mention how she was talking about Calvin. What was the last episode? How she was going off saying that Calvin had left her for somebody else. I think I did mention it or whatever. And I was like, you didn't want him either. Not really, because your friend said so. I mean, he was doing some questionable things. I ain't gonna lie. It's certain things like he was doing that was like, okay, now. Then he kissed. when they kissing, it was one episode. Didn't he kiss that guy? And I was like, wait a minute now. I was like, I don't care what you're saying about having two dads and all this other stuff. You ain't got no business now. If you straight, you be straight now. This like all the it'd be a whole bunch of people. I ain't gonna say it. I about to say on TikTok. Then it's like now I don't know which side you're playing for now. I hate to say it like that, but it's for real. I know I ain't the only one. But yeah, I was like, they did the one episode. He came and greeted him and he kissed him on the lips, didn't he? Somebody said, I think somebody had said it was the jaw, but it looked like he kissed him on the lips. I don't know, y'all. But either way it goes. But yeah, hold on, y'all. Let's see what else. What else? What else? Um, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I don't know how they got to talking about Andy, and I don't know if he was saying be like your friend or something like that, or he mentioned Andy, and then she was like, no, she was just there to get takeout and stuff like that, and he shows her a photo of Andy and Dr. Fun. She was like, that's Karen's doctor and stuff. And she was like, I wonder why, she lied or whatever. And I said, because she don't want y'all in her business. She over here blaming y'all for all the trouble she done had and all the failed relationships she done had. No, I don't know for real. Now, at first, I thought that she was trying to be secretive because she was working on the whole Karen case. But now that Karen knows and everything, I don't know. I really don't know why she ain't telling her because she ain't tell Fatima either. And she normally tell her everything. I said she normally tell her everything. So I don't know. Maybe she just being, I ain't gonna say secret. I take that back. Maybe she just being private. And y'all know how I just said how, certain things you shouldn't tell. It's definitely certain things you shouldn't tell. So I say that. Maybe she just want to keep it quiet until she knows for sure what's going on. Maybe that's what it is. We still ain't seen Gary. Who else? Robin long gone. We ain't seen Gary. They ain't went back to Hudson to show what happened to him. But yeah, let's see what else. What else? What else? We had 16 minutes. Let's see. Like I said, Maurice showed Sabrina a photo of Andy. Pam ends up calling to check on Karen, and she was like, "You haven't called me or whatever, or you haven't stopped by to see, the salon or whatever." Excuse me. And she was saying how normally she'll be blowing her up and stuff. She was like, she mentioned something about Karen. She mentioned something about Karen about the salon and stuff. She's supposed to stop by on next week's episode, so we'll see how it goes. They said something about she's shocked to see how Pam has been running the salon. What else? Zach ends up, I think it was a knock at the door or something. Somebody delivered a big old box, and it was from Chaz. He sent Fatima a gift, so Zach opens it or whatever. He's like, "This is exactly what I be talking about." So it's a gift, it's a purse or whatever in that big old box, that small purse in that big old box or whatever. So he felt some type of way about it. That's when, Fatima ends up calling to check on him, and she just so excited. She's talking about Chaz, and she was like, he was mentioning something about real estate, and she was like, she know the perfect person, and she mentioned Zach, so he wants to meet with him. So they supposed to meet on next week's episode, and he's supposed to be confronting him about the whole Fatima situation. I said he finna get ready to work out all his frustrations in regards to Chaz. I said, all right now, no, it might not be what you think, Zach, because Zach be over here trying to fight any and everybody and don't even know if they can fight or not. Don't even care. Just over here trying to beat up people. Just over here trying to beat up people. But now I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we'll see. Danny made it home. We basically talked about that already. She made it home. She was like, she been trying to call and text him. He was like, what, you been calling me or whatever? So he revealed he don't ate her food. She hears the toilet flush. She was like, who is that? She grabbed a knife or whatever. He's like, it's not what you think. I'm telling you, it's not what you think. It's just her cousin. It was just her cousin or whatever. But yeah, I don't think that was the last thing. I think the last thing was Fatima talking about Chaz going to meet with him about the real estate, and he was like, yeah, go on, set that up or whatever. And I was like, yeah, he about to get ready to do something stupid. He definitely is. But I don't like how a lot of people, depending on the situation, a lot of people be like, Zach this and that, but they don't never want to hold Fatima accountable. I don't think neither one of them know how to communicate. Not really. They pick and choose when they want to communicate. They pick and choose. I think both of them need to do better, especially with them trying to get married, especially with them going to get married. They need to do better at communicating, because this is too much now. I think she should be honest. I seen a lot of people in the uproar about the whole comment Fatima made last week about being relieved that, it was Zach's baby that was stillborn. some people was debating about whether or not she meant it in that way, and I was like, she obviously meant it in that way because she was like, I hate to say this or whatever. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said it like that. And I said, either way it go, they gonna be good. She entitled to how she feel. I just wouldn't have told Karen's friend. Now, hopefully, this whole Karen's ex situation is over with for good. Cause y'all know, I seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, the baby's gone now. They ain't got no ties, so that means we ain't gonna be seeing them together or no back and forth and all this other stuff." Karen ain't got nothing to hold over his head, but that don't mean nothing. They could just bond over the fact that they lost a child. Y'all know people use any excuse to do stupid stuff or bond over stupid stuff anyways. I was like, I don't want to give them no ideas though. Hold on. But yeah, I don't want to give them no type of ideas. We sick of seeing the same doggone storyline. Let it go. Turn her loose. It's turn her loose. I said it got to be some more storylines they could do with Zach and Fatima too, though. I seen some people saying how they think that Zach and Fatima need to be all sisters, and people was like, if they get all sisters, they not watching sisters no more. Y'all know I've been wanting it to end. I've been saying how it should end or whatever, because they running out of material. It's clear. If you continue to go back to the same storyline, just like on Bold and Beautiful, if you continue to go to the same storyline, then that means you running out of ideas. Either bring in some more writers, because these ain't doing it either. These ain't doing it either. Okay, that's it, y'all. That's it. That's all. Let me know y'all thoughts down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time.